Past the hour on Studio B, a federal judge has sparked a huge ethics debate now by forcing the government to bend the rules to put 2 children in Philadelphia on the adult lung donor waiting list. Now, both of these kids is really in desperate need of transplant. The judge yesterday ordered the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, to put an 11-year-old boy on that 12 and over list after his mother filed a lawsuit. Now, the day earlier, the same judge has ordered the secretary put a 10-year-old girl on the list in response to a very similar lawsuit from her parents. Secretary Sebelius on Tuesday had told a House panel she would not intervene in the girl's case, saying medical experts should set the rules for organ transplants. Then came the lawsuits. They claim the kids need to be on the adult list because there are just too few child donors. The girl and the boy are at the same hospital. Both have cystic fibrosis, a genetic disease that makes breathing extremely difficult. Former NFL star Boomer Esiason launched a foundation to help people with cystic fibrosis and their families after doctors diagnosed his son with the disease back in 1993. This says his son is 21. Is he 22 now, right?
22 now, right.
He's 22 and recently graduated from Boston College, which we won't hold against him. Former quarterback and current broadcaster over at CBS is a co-chairman of the Boomer Esiason Foundation, one of the most visible figures in the fight against cystic fibrosis. Good on you.
Well, it's good to see you, Shep, and thanks for having me. You know, this is a very tough story, and we've reached out to Sarah and her family. I think her mother, Janet, really deserves a ton of credit here because a CF mom, and I see it in my own home, there's nothing like a CF mom. I mean, they are bulldogs. They will do everything to take care of their children, and Janet, in this case, really has moved mountains. This is a discussion that really needs to be had. Anybody who is a parent of a CF child knows what she's dealing with. I see those pictures. I remember Gunnar in the hospital with the feeding, with the mask over his face and going through all the different things that you have to fight cystic fibrosis, and then to see these kids, 10 and 11 years old, dying, waiting for lungs. They have to be made available if, in fact, we can find them. And that's why you have to put them on the adult donor list, simply because there aren't enough pediatric lungs available. And the other thing that they are doing here, they are definitely shedding a light on the donor programs all around the country and why it is so important that we all become organ donors ourselves. I
had a viewer who was out in front of the building the other day and said, I just signed up to be a donor. I just couldn't stand hearing that story over and over. I'm like, well,
it's part of our message. You know, we try to tell people that we need lungs. We need lungs, and lungs are a very, very fragile organ. They last for less than 5 hours outside of the body. You have to get them in the recipient's body as quickly as possible. Michael Brennan used to work for me back in '99. He died waiting for lungs. I have Jerry Cahill, who works for me now. He just passed his 1-year anniversary after receiving his lungs. Both of these guys were adults. Both of these guys, you know, had a chance. I think Sarah, I think any child in that situation has to have a chance, and we as human beings have to give them every opportunity to receive these lungs, and not to discriminate against them because of their age.
I didn't fully understand 12. It looks in today's world like it's almost an arbitrary number.
It is, and you know, when you talk to these kids and when you hear Sarah talk, you're blown away by who she is, and how can you not be attached to that? And again, I go back to the whole thing where this is a mom moving mountains to save her daughter, and her daughter trying to move mountains to have a chance. And we all know that a lung transplant is not easy. It's a very, very, very difficult surgery to go through. I've seen people go through it and live long lives afterwards, 10 to 12 years. And I've also seen people that have not made it after 2 months after receiving new lungs. So it's a very, very heartbreaking story. But in my estimation, we should do everything we possibly can to help them and help them live a healthy life.
Your son Gunnar is 22. How is he?
He's good. He's you know, just graduated from Boston College, as you pointed out. They did not want to go to the University of Maryland. Did not want to go to Ole Miss either.
Fool.
But the fact is, he had a great experience there. And I remember when he was diagnosed in 1993, they told us that he would have a very good chance at college due to the increase in drugs and dealing with the disease. And Gunnar's a great kid, and I see these pictures now that you're showing here when he was 2 and 3 years old. It's been an amazing story, but Sarah still highlights the difficulties that we have in the world of cystic fibrosis, that too many young people are dying way before they should be.
the person at home right now going, man, I love that kid. What do I do? How can people?
Well, the first thing you can do is become an organ donor yourself. That's one of the lasting legacies that I think Sarah and Janet will have on all of us, that they have highlighted this. But secondly, I think what you can do is make a phone call. Join a change.org, if you will. Go there, sign a petition. I've done this. I've called the Health and Human Services Secretary Sebelius, and I understand the situation she's in, too. She wants the medical experts to make these decisions, which I think is the prudent thing on her part. But the fact of the matter is, Janet and Sarah went the right route. They got a judge to give them an injunction, to put them on the list, to give them a chance right now at least. And then it's up to the experts in the field to change this policy and hopefully do the right thing.
Hope they do.
I hope so, and I appreciate you having me on to talk about it.
You bet. Boomer, it's nice to see you.
Thank you very much, Shep.
All right. Boomer.